All right, so hello, Aries, and welcome back to Divine Rebel. My name is Racy, and I'm going to be giving the message for you today. This is for Aries and those with strong or significant Arian placements in their charts for May. All right, Arian energy for May. Those of you not familiar with me or the channel and you're new, please be aware I have no sugarcoating, no filter. I read how I read. If that is not your thing, you got kids around, don't appreciate those kinds of messages, I am always respectful of that. I give you the opportunity to sign off now. Okay, otherwise we are getting into this Arian energy for May. I am using my Divine Masculine and Divine Feminine combined tarot decks. There are 4 different decks that make these 2 decks, one with masculine and one with feminine attributes. And then I'm going to be using my Beyond Lemuria Oracle cards as guidance. Okay, so Aries. What is going on in your Divine Masculine energy? Divine Masculine energy is the mind, the thoughts, the choices, the head space, the behavior, and the actions, right? What is going on with Aries, Divine Masculine energy? What is going on in the head space? What is going on with their actions? What is going on? Something's itching at you, Aries. Feeling the need to start over. It's because of childhood wounds or illusion with the moon. I think you're holding on to something from your past that you don't understand, possibly concerning a lover. And so you feel this inherent need to move on or disconnect, or like you have to keep moving because maybe you've reached a dead end with yourself. I think there's something still bothering you about the past that you're holding on to. Something that keeps you looking down instead of looking up. Give me some more clarity, Spirit. What is that? The Hierophant, someone you felt married to in heart and soul. Even if you weren't actually married, someone you felt married to in heart and soul. What happened with it? Or at least how does Aries perceive it? Sacred soulmate, twin flame. We got the 4 of Wands. Maybe you had an opportunity and missed it. King of Swords again, or they were super cold and cut you off. Because this is how Aries is perceiving it. I think you're still hung up, Aries, on someone that you felt a really high soul contract with. And you're holding on to it. And I think there's certain things you don't understand about that past. I'm being really drawn to the fact that this king is pointing, and it looks like he's almost running his finger along the blade. This may have been someone that you were married to in a past life, which is why you feel the soul connection so deep. They might have brought a lot of joy into your life in the moment. They may or may not be your divine counterpart. But I feel like you were potentially married to them in a past life for sure. And I think that the reason why you're so down about it, that you're holding on to it and so down about it, is because you don't understand what the lesson was, the higher perspective was, that maybe you cut yourself. That maybe they didn't actually cut you, that maybe you cut yourself. And that maybe they cut you off because you weren't seeing things from their perspective, or you weren't hearing them. Maybe you were so caught up in the feeling of the connection that you weren't actually paying attention to what was really going on, what they were in your life experience to teach you. The Four of Wands can feel like a dream come true. And I think you're holding on to that feeling and cutting yourself with it now, because nothing else is possibly comparing to that feeling. And you're holding on to it. And I think the big issue might be is that you're identifying that feeling with that person in particular. When they may have just simply came in to teach you the higher perspective with the King of Swords twice. One, that you're capable of feeling that kind of joy and connection with someone. And two, that you don't need to get it specifically from them, that you could detach, which is a light attribute to the King of Swords, that you can detach and create it again, because that kind of feeling comes from within yourself. That person, whoever came into your life, just let you know that it's possible for you to create that. But it wasn't necessarily with them. At least not at that time. Maybe at a later point in life, maybe in another life, you'll reconnect with them. But the healing right now definitely has to do with you seeing the healing. You're focusing on lovers and the journey, and yet there's this Moon card at the fore of it. This is, whenever I see this, the Moon card, it's literally like the tale of the two wolves. The wolf of fear and pain, and the wolf of love and light. Which wolf do you feed? Both are in your mind. The one you feed gets stronger. And if you're constantly feeding the wolf of fear and pain, you're constantly feeding that wolf in your mind, and that's where your thoughts are going, then the wolf of love and light will slowly starve itself and die. It'll slowly starve and die. And all that will be left in the mind is the power of fear and pain. Or do you choose to feed the wolf of love and light in your mind? Be optimistic. Be positive. Look to the bright side. Look to gratitude for all experiences. Do you feed that wolf in your mind and allow those thoughts to be in your mind so that the wolf of fear and pain starves out and dies? Which wolf do you feed? I don't doubt that you are on a twin flame journey. I don't doubt you're on a twin flame journey. But I think this is the healing that you're moving through in order to get to the final union within the self, which would ultimately manifest as a union with your counterpart, your actual counterpart. Whether it's the person you think it is or otherwise. Be humble enough to know that you could be wrong. You don't believe you are. If you think you know who they are, you don't believe they are, but you're humble enough to admit that maybe you could be. which means you got to focus on feeding the right wolf. Heal your wounding. That maybe your energy, your light wasn't good enough. Maybe it has nothing to do with your light. Maybe it has nothing to do with you. Why it didn't work out, or maybe someone chose someone else. Maybe you're having regrets because you were deeply connected to a twin flame and maybe chose to move forward, and now you're having regrets and realize that maybe it was a mistake. Because that's definitely how these cards could be read too. Feeling like you know who your divine counterpart is, and maybe you chose to walk away and that was a mistake. Because you realized in hindsight, maybe they were the ones that really loved you and they were trying to help you, and maybe you were resistant to them and their love at the time. Maybe you weren't considering at the time. Maybe you were very self-concerned or too focused on yourself at the time. And now looking back at it, you're like, wow, that person actually really loved me. Like if anybody ever loved me, I know that person did. If anybody actually really loved me looking back, I know beyond a doubt this person actually loved me. You might be thinking about possibly an opportunity to reconcile if that's the case. Because sometimes it's not about it's not about who gets our chaser on. You know what I mean? It's not about who gets us in that chase mode where I gotta have it, I gotta have them. It's not always about who gets us in that chase mode. It's about the person who loves us enough to keep chasing. You know, it's a perspective thing. If someone who loves you, who you know loves you, cut you out or moved away from you or moved on, you got to understand, for someone who loves you to quit, quote unquote, quit or give up on you, it's not because they actually gave up on you. It's not because their love quit. It's because you were telling them with your actions to leave you alone. And because they love you, they obliged. They just realized you didn't know how to tell them to leave you alone. And they love you, and so they did. Perspective is everything. Sometimes people don't quit on us. They just realize you didn't know how to tell them to leave you alone because you weren't ready to receive their love. Perspective's everything. Maybe someone didn't quit on you or give up on you who loved you. Maybe they loved you so much they finally let you go because you didn't want to be there with them. You didn't actually want their love at the time. Where's your heart space, Aries? Where's the divine feminine energy, the feelings, the emotions, the receptive energy, the intuition? Where's the heart space? Where's the divine feminine energy? The Four of Swords. The Devil. I think you're tired of not being put on a pedestal by people, especially when maybe there's a person in your past that did. Fighting for position. Maybe you feel like you need a break from karmic shit. You want true light. You want authenticity. You don't want to be caught in the devil's web. Trapped beneath the surface under lock and key. Feeling like there's no one worthy of your love out there. You might have been dealing with karmic distractions because you were married to them in past lives and you were connected to them in past lives, but they're not your actual counterpart. Really, the more I read these cards, Aries, I really do feel like you were not ready for the love someone was giving you at the time. And then you looked at them or looked back on them like they gave up on you when they didn't give up. They just let you be. Two of Swords, Eight of Cups, Ace of Swords, Ace of Swords in the reverse. Yeah, I think you made the wrong choice looking for emotional fulfillment elsewhere, and it was a lie against the self. Twice over. You were looking for something out there, chasing something. You were chasing something. And it was probably right in front of you the whole time. Chasing someone more attractive. Chasing someone who made more money. Chasing someone who had more promise of a future, blah, 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 whatever. And I think what you're realizing is none of them people actually prioritize you, consider you, care about you the way that someone else did. None of these things or people that you chased after actually matter. None of them are still there. Maybe all of them hurt you. Because they're not your person. There may be, like I said, potential past life partners that maybe saved you from a dark place, that in this life, your soul remembers they saved you from a dark place, and so you're chasing after them to save you from your dark place. When that's not their intention in this life, your intention is to be with your divine counterpart. You're meant to be with the one person that when you look back, you know always actually fucking loved you, who really did. It's never too late. It's never too late. I would reach out to that person. Honest to God, I would reach out to that person. If you wronged them, hurt them, ghosted them, cheated on them, made them feel like they were the last person on your priority list, I think it's worth an acknowledgement. That maybe they have no love for you now and no future is possible. Maybe it's been so long and they have their own life. But at the end of the day, they didn't deserve that treatment from you, not with the love they were giving. That you forced them to quit and give up. That you forced them to quit and give up on you. Because you didn't understand then what you understand now. Because what you were looking for then is not what you're looking for now. What you're looking for now is what they gave you then. And you have regrets. I think it's worth acknowledging. The shadow of Aries is pride. I think you need to put your pride aside and take the lead, which is your light. Aryan light is taking the lead. Initiative. I think you need to get into your light. Sun, I think you need to get into your light. You just weren't ready at the time. You weren't ready at the time. Maybe you were young and you weren't ready to settle, and you knew that this was the one person who you could settle with, who wanted to settle with you, and you just weren't there. You just weren't in that headspace. And now that you are, and you realize just how fucking rare it is to find someone who loves you that you can actually settle with, that you wouldn't hurt them the way you did. Because you realize just how rare they are. What's the guidance card, Spirit, please? What's the guidance for Aries for the month of May? What card do they need to receive? Arian energies. Transformation. Transformation. I'm going to read some for you. Self-nurturing, going within, time alone, being present with your feelings, cocooning before the butterfly, being gentle on yourself, an angelic embrace. This painting started with the name. I needed a hug, so I painted one. During the creation process, the image underwent a profound transformation that paralleled the journey I was taking deep within myself at the time. This card signifies going inward and being truly present with wherever you are at in your process. It emits a sense of self-nurture and space that is held as a container for our delicate and vulnerable gestation periods. The final image was filled with blessings, like an angelic embrace. This care emanates from the being, implying that she is creating it for herself. The most powerful healing comes from a place of presence and acceptance for all that doesn't try to fix anything or push things away. Maybe all this time you were trying to find people that you could fix, when in fact, Aries, maybe you were the one that needed fixing. And the best way that you could nurture yourself now is to realize that you deserve to be nurtured. That you're ready to be nurtured. I needed a hug, so I painted one. I think you need a hug, Aries. A real one, a heartfelt one that maybe this person could give you. And you need to be able to paint that for yourself. And it takes initiative. It takes acknowledgement. It takes being real and vulnerable with the truth. To face yourself. That you thought you were chasing a dream, and in reality you were running away from it. The whole time. The more you chased the dream away from this person, the more you actually ran away from the dream that this person wanted to give you. That you find yourself wanting now. It's okay to admit that you weren't ready at the time, that you didn't understand, that your priorities were fucked up. That you weren't in the place, the headspace to give them all that they truly deserved from you. But after all that you've been through and all the chasing and all the failing that you've dealt with, no one is more deserving of your best efforts than them. This person is your hug. The soul that hugs your soul and keeps it safe and lets you know it's okay, that you're loved. Trust. Trust. I really do feel like they didn't quit on you. They left you alone because you wanted to be alone. But I don't think their love is really gone, because love doesn't really go anywhere, not when it's real like that. I'm sure this person still loves you. And no matter what is going on in their reality, I think they would be more than willing to think about being a part of your life, especially if you can acknowledge the heart that they had and all that they put forth and how much you hurt it. And now in hindsight, how much regret you have for hurting it because you couldn't find that person's heart in anyone else. You couldn't find the love they had for you in anyone else. Maybe you can go out for coffee or something sometime. Catch up. Maybe there's something you can actually do to show you care, right? That you're ready. If they live far away, make the trip. All the efforts you would have given to anybody else, give them all your best effort. Because they're the only heart and soul actually worth chasing that you've ever met. They're the one that you realize you should have never gave up on, and so don't ever give up. Don't ever give up. You don't give up and they won't either. You understand? You don't give up, they won't either. Don't give up on yourself and that you deserve to be loved. And that so do they. They deserve to be loved by someone who actually sees the value of their heart, even if it took a long time to see it. You see it and you see it clearly, and they deserve to be loved with that heart that you have for them now. They might have deserved better than the old you, but the new you, the transformed you, they deserve all of that. I hope that helps. So until next time, guys, this is Divine Rebel Racy signing off. Remember always to love each other, and most importantly, love yourself. Bye, everybody.